Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Francisco Ortega. You're joining us on another episode of the Anointed Men's Podcast. We're on episode 6, and we have a special guest here by the name of Danny Tabares. Thanks for
Yes.
coming on the podcast, bro.
Yeah,
I
thanks
know
for inviting me, man.
it's been a long time coming, man.
It's been like
I
a
think
year.
it's been a year since we last had our
Yeah.
own podcast interview on your podcast. So how you been, man?
I'm good, man. It's pretty cool seeing you with your own podcast now.
Yeah, no,
You
it's
know,
like you're on the other end, right? And it's always kind of not weird, but it's different. You get a
it's
different perspective, I guess.
it's pretty cool because like I'm pretty sure a year ago you told me you were gonna start the podcast and you're talking to me about it, and like now you're actually doing it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, so like seeing it come to life is pretty
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah. So I think it was that the getting started was what was most difficult for me because it's like, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow or I'll do it next week.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
I'll do it next month, and it's just like you just keep leaving it
Keep
and
pushing
leaving
it.
Yeah, you keep pushing it back, and and then I finally, I had to kind of make a decision. I was like, you know what, I need to do this. Like, I absolutely need to do this. Like, I feel compelled to do it, and so let's get it done.
Yeah, man.
So, what made you start like the idea of podcasting yourself? Like, what?
Well, probably our mutual friend Ulysses, because that's how he had his podcast, Inside the Northside podcast. It was pretty cool, seeing him interview people. And that kind of gave me the idea to do it because I already had the equipment because I do music also.
Okay.
I already had a microphone interface, computer set up with like recording software.
Okay.
I was like, I might as well try it. So I invited one of my friends. His name is Furman. He's a doctor now of physical
Cool. Right on.
therapy. So like my idea was to have him share his expertise,
Okay.
to my other friends because I feel like most of my friends are musicians,
Okay.
So I was thinking, what if I get someone like Furman to kind of like show what he knows about like the medical field
Okay.
and just stuff like that. Going to school because he went to school a lot also.
Was it like 8 years that he went to school for? Or?
It was, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, okay.
Pretty
That's
sure,
the norm.
yeah.
I think if you just want to be like a regular doctor, I think it's like 8 years. I think even longer if you want to be like a specialist or something. So
Yeah, because he just became a doctor, I think like last year or the year before that. I think it was the year before
okay,
that,
cool.
around there.
Right
It
on.
was very recent.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure it took him like 8 years. But yeah, like once I recorded that, I think it took me like a month or two to actually like release it because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
same thing,
Yeah,
kept,
man. You
kept
just-
pushing it. I was like, dude, like who's gonna listen to this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how do I even do it? I don't know.
Yeah,
you know?
you would be surprised, man. Like I've had people hit me up and be like, "Hey, that was a good episode." And I'm like, "What the heck?" I was like, "I
Yeah.
didn't even think you're listening or whatever." So you can never undermine the impact that you'll have, through this, platform. So
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Also, like I was a big podcast fan myself. I listened to like a lot of podcasts.
Yeah.
Like to this day, I think for about like I think 7 years now, I've been listening to podcasts like
Okay.
almost every day. I listen to like probably like 20 podcasts. Not
Really?
gonna lie.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
like
I
a
do
good
too, man.
rotation. Right now, like my favorite one is probably the Dave Ramsey podcast.
Okay, cool.
He like
Right on,
teaches
yeah.
about money and stuff like that. How to become debt free. Free Code Camp podcast. Like a lot of like coding podcasts are pretty cool. Like
Right on,
seeing
man.
how their minds work, how they create stuff.
Okay.
From like just coding, software development. Joe Rogan podcast, Weekly Planet. It's like a nerdy podcast about like comic book movies and stuff
Oh,
like
okay,
that.
cool.
Superheroes.
Hey, that's dude. Everybody, like I have one of my buddies, Derek Thomason. He's from Texas City. Like he's always been into comic books, and he takes it very seriously. Like he's just like he goes to like these events and everything.
Yeah.
He always hangs out with people that are like minded. So
Yeah.
I could respect him liking that. Everybody has their own hobbies, their own interests and stuff like that. So teach their own, right?
Yeah, man. But yeah, it's pretty much all the reasons why I started the podcast. Once I released that one, I had my friend Micah on.
Okay.
And the reason why I had him on is because he's in the, what's it called? The National Guard, I think.
Oh, okay.
The Army National
cool.
Guard. And he came back to Houston, and I was like, hey, man, I want to be on the podcast, and talk about your experiences.
Yeah.
So he went on and he talked about what it's been like over there. And then the thing about Micah, though, is that he was also in 2 bands.
Okay.
Because the reason that I met him was through the music scene here in Houston. Like we played shows together and with like different bands. And once he came on, that's when like other musicians find out like I
Nice.
had a podcast.
Yeah. So yeah, one person led into a whole nother. yeah, series of people, and that's
Like
good, man.
like to this day, like my guests are like are musicians who reach out to me wanting to be on.
Cool, right
That's
on.
like my majority of my guests.
What's the name of I know the name of the podcast, but like for the viewers that don't
It's
know,
a
what's it
Street
called?
Couch podcast. You can find it at streetcouchentertainment.com. Street Couch Entertainment on YouTube as well. I also make like reels and stuff from each
Yeah,
interview on Instagram and TikTok. I feel like those get more engagement than the
yeah.
actual like videos
Yeah,
themselves.
that's what I've come to find out. Like when you have reels and or videos that you're posting, like people like to they're imagery people, So it's like people want to see these things,
Yeah.
and so it makes a difference from just recording audio. Like a huge difference, I would say. Like for example, the last podcast I had with Elise's, I thought it was a great podcast, but it had one of the least engagements. Which I mean, I'm not too interested in the numbers,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it does come to show like, hey, there's a difference between video and just audio.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
for
yeah, man.
sure, man. I feel like don't be afraid to try different things with the podcast.
Yeah.
Cause my first thing that I did with the podcast is put it on Spotify.
Okay.
So like that was it, just Spotify. But like my numbers, after a while, I feel like you kind of do have to focus on the numbers
Yeah.
if you want to grow, if you want to turn it into a business eventually, because business is all about numbers.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So like, might as well kind of like, but like I see what you're saying. Like
Yeah.
don't make it the prime focus when you're starting out.
Yeah.
It should be for fun.
Yeah.
Because we're
For
doing
sure.
this for
For
fun. We
sure.
like it. We love it. But after a while, I feel like we want to get like
Yeah. Like if you want to monetize from it, like you
exactly.
gotta hit certain milestones or certain markers. So I've come to find out that like on Spotify creators, it kind of tells you like
Yeah,
all the milestones that you got to reach in
yeah.
order for you to start, I guess making money.
Yeah. So like I don't know, for some reason like with Spotify like my numbers never got that high. I think
Okay.
only the first episode was like I think I got like 60 listens,
Okay.
but then after that it just kind of dropped off. I feel like the more episodes I released, like the lower the number got.
Really?
So I was like, dude, like what am I
Like what's
doing
going
wrong?
on? Yeah.
And like I would talk to Ulysses and Caesar and they're talking about like, oh yeah, this last episode got like 100 or something. And I'm like, dude, how are they doing it? And like
Yeah.
and they would tell me like, dude, like you're just starting out. Like, like don't
Yeah.
be too hard on yourself. Because they're like more experienced, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. For sure.
So I'd be like, all right, yeah, all right. But then like same thing you were saying about the audio and the video, I was kind of thinking like, what if I start doing video?
Yeah.
Like I might try different things. If I see something isn't working, because you know the saying like, don't fix what isn't broken,
Correct.
but sometimes you gotta fix what is broken. You
For
know what I
sure.
mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like something was broken. Something's going on. So yeah, I started doing video. And then kind of the same thing, it
Yeah.
was kind of hard to get views on YouTube. So I was like, what else can I try? Reels,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do reels, and then I saw like a bigger engagement with the reels. I was like, okay, I figured it out. Like
Correct.
I know how to get people like turning their
Yeah.
heads to this.
Or if you like, for example, where I noticed like I got the most views and the most engagement was when I had invited. Well, I didn't invite him because we did a remote interview, like Ken
Mm,
Hovind and I, and so that's like people really, that caught people's eye, and I
yeah.
was like, okay, well, I understand why because he's pretty well known in the Christian world and
Okay.
the podcasting and in that world. And so like when I interviewed him, like that's probably the video that I have the most views from. And so it was crazy because like even on YouTube. But of course it's just like everything, man. It's like you're gonna have your positive feedback and then you have people that are just talking trash or whatever. Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about, et cetera, et cetera.
I've had that.
And I was like, well, I mean, like, I'm here to interview somebody. Like what you believe about them or your opinion about them, like that, you know, I don't know what to tell you about that. I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna change your beliefs. Like I'm just here to interview people and to try to gain something from it.
Yeah.
Like have a sit down, ask you questions, and then if we both have a takeaway from it, even better. But I'm not gonna sit
Yeah.
here and judge people or like what they've done in their past or what like and that's not my business.
Yeah, man.
So
I feel like the best thing to do is like learn from people you don't agree with. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because yeah, like Dave Ramsey, we were talking about him, earlier. Like he brings it up himself, like he's like, hey, like a lot of people hate me because like I vote for Trump or whatever. That's what he said, and like but he was like, cause like he had Trump, but like on his podcast to
okay.
interview him,
Oh really?
and
Okay,
he
I
said he
didn't
got like
know
a
that.
lot of hate for
Ah, I
that,
bet, man.
and like me, like I kind of have like those negative feelings also, but I was
Yeah,
like, I'm not gonna like stop liking Dave Ramsey. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I feel like I'm learning way too much from him for me to be like
Yeah,
bothered by that, you know. So like I gave it a shot, you know. I checked out
yeah,
the podcast and like even though like I don't agree with them, you know, I still listen to it just to like check
yeah,
it out, see how they think, maybe find some things I do agree with them, you know.
yeah,
And like I didn't like explode or anything. I didn't die, you know what
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean? Nothing
exactly.
bad happened. Like the world didn't end,
When I think
you
that
know.
the issue with people like now in this day and age is people are so they have these knee jerk reactions where they're like, oh, like they completely just demonize a person because they did such and such, and it's just like, dude, like, like you got to be open minded to where it's like you can't just stop supporting somebody because they had somebody that you didn't like or you didn't agree with.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of naive in my view. And it's like you might not agree, you might not have the same opinions, but it's like you just and like it's like we were talking about earlier, like you don't just want people that are just going to continually agree with you. You
Yeah,
want
no.
contrasting
Like yes,
views, you
man.
want contrasting opinions, and you want to challenge sometimes, because it's like if someone is able to challenge you to your core and to your beliefs, um, that gives you something to work with.
Yeah.
Instead of like I've always thought like friends are the ones that are going to call you on your BS. They're going to tell you when you're wrong. You don't want just a whole bunch of people or friends that are just going to agree with you. Like I don't, and I've had that before, and so
Hmm.
I'm just like, dude, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what I need to work on. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't need those kind of people.
You don't need like enablers, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly. Because at the end of the day, like you go out and let's say you're gonna do a speech or whatever, and you bomb it, because no one was willing to be honest with you and tell you like, hey, do you need to work on your speech.
Yeah.
So that's my issue with it.
They're like,
Not
hey,
not
that was great, man. You
yeah,
know.
and then people are just you're getting cooked on the comment section or something.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
just like, but how many episodes are you in with your podcast?
I think I'm like around 50, I
Oh,
believe.
nice, dude.
I'm not sure what
Nice.
the exact number is because I'll be honest, like I haven't had like much time to work on it lately.
Okay,
But I'm working on it. You know, I'm like slowly like trying to get back to it. But I think I'm like around 50
nice,
around
dude.
there.
That's a good amount.
I
I
feel like
mean,
I've done more than that, you know,
yeah, yeah,
like for all the work that goes into it, all the editing and stuff. But
yeah. It's not easy.
it's
Like I
pretty cool
mean,
though, like you know, because like I started from having no episodes, you
yeah,
know, and like
yeah.
then to having
I
one
mean,
and
I do
two.
like as you saw, like I can even remember what episode this was. So I'm like, I had to go and scroll back and
Yeah,
be like,
yeah,
okay, it's number 6. So it's like you kind of lose track. So
yeah.
it's easy to lose track. So like, yeah, no, don't be too hard on yourself. And outside of podcasting, like, and you said you did a band, right? Like you're a part of a
Hmm.
band. Like, what's the name of the band,
The
or is it?
band is actually right here. It's a
Oh, nice. There you go. You see,
Centillion.
right on. And
Yeah.
how long you been with them?
So Centillion actually formed like 20, 2014, I think, a long
Okay.
time ago in high school. Then we took like it was like a 7 year hiatus
Okay.
because the band broke up, and then me and my cousin, who was also in the band, we formed a different band after that, and then that band broke up, and then I formed another band, and then that one broke
Yeah.
up, and then my friend Gabriel and I were like, hey, like what if we bring back Centillion from high
Yeah.
school? And like, I was like, you know what, why not?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, why
Yeah.
not? So him and I just met up, recorded a song called Rebirth. And then one of his friends noticed, and one of my friends noticed. They're like, "Hey, can we join?" We're like, "All right, yeah."
Yeah. Right
So
on.
we got like a drummer and a singer and guitarist. The drummer moved away to Washington
Oh,
though.
okay.
He lives in Spokane, Washington now. So we needed a drummer like
Yeah.
right away.
Cool.
And like luckily I have a drum set. I knew like a little bit of drums. So I was like, "Hey guys, like I'll do it." That way we won't have to be looking for a drummer because it
Yeah.
sucks looking for a drummer, dude.
Is it hard to
Drummers,
come by or something?
huh?
Or like our
Yeah.
drummers hard to come by?
Yeah,
Okay.
drummers are like scarce.
Why?
Cause
Why?
like for every drummer you find in the Houston music scene, they're in like 3 or 5 bands.
Wow.
Cause people
Okay.
need them. People
Yeah.
need
Yeah. Yeah.
drummers.
That's crazy, dude.
Cause most musicians are guitarists,
Oh, okay.
and then probably singers and bass players and drummers are like, you know,
Yeah.
like there's not that many drummers.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I would have never thought of that, dude.
Yeah, dude. So I was like, I'm not gonna deal with that. Cause I've done it before. I've had to look for drummers, and like, whenever you finally find one, they're too busy or like,
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
booked
they're
up or
already in
something. Yeah.
committed projects. Or like they're just not feeling the music.
Where do you look for these people at? Like,
Instagram or shows, like
oh,
going to
okay.
go see bands play. That's the biggest thing, networking.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
once they get to know you, once they see your face, then you feel comfortable.
Yeah,
You
for
know,
sure.
then they're like, okay, this guy's kind of cool. You know, I'll jam with him, or I'll introduce him to this other guy I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I know like before, like before Craigslist got banned and whatever, like people would actually go on there and they'd publish jobs or whatever. So I think that would have been a good spot probably to find
I'm
some
pretty
drummers as
sure
well,
people
man.
use Craigslist because I've also used online things. Like there's one called Bandmix.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah, totally
bandmix.com. It's like specifically for that, for looking
nice.
for band members. And there's another one called Vamper. It's like the same thing, but for your phone. It's kind of like Tinder where you like
Yeah, okay.
swipe, but it's like musicians,
Oh wow,
So
okay,
like,
that's
okay,
pretty
like
neat.
you put like, okay, like I need a drummer, or like I play guitar looking for a guitarist. I mean, for a drummer. And then it'll match you with
Yeah,
musicians like that.
yeah,
Um, so like instead of doing all that, I just told the guys like, hey, I'll do it.
okay,
I'll try and learn more drums and I'll do it. And they gave me a shot. They're like, all right, like you have this one show to prove that you can like do it. I'm like, all right,
nice.
I did it. And it was like our best show ever,
Oh
dude.
yeah,
It
that's
was
good.
it was because of a connection that we had. My buddy Dennis from Midnight Beverage, shout out. His band's pretty big in the scene, and they gave us
Cool.
like they threw us a bone basically. They're like, all
Okay.
right, here, like can y'all open for us this day? And we're like, all right. And we show up, and there's like a line out the door. We're confused. We're like, what the, like, are we at the right place? Like, what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on? Like, there's no way these people are here
yeah.
for the show. So we go in, we go into the green room, like the backstage to
Okay.
get ready, and then we look out, and like there's like a huge crowd.
Yeah. So
We're
y'all
so
weren't expecting it.
confused,
Yeah.
dude. We're like, what the fuck is going on, dude? I'm sorry about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
language, bro, but yeah, we were just like mind blown, We're like,
yeah, yeah.
whoa, we're gonna play to to that. And like it was our best show, dude. And
Wow,
it was our first time
that's
on
cool, man.
drums. Like at first I was really nervous. Also because that
Yeah.
day I had hurt my finger because I was practicing and I hit my finger like pretty hard and I was bleeding like pretty
Ooh.
bad and I was in pain.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, like I'm not sure if I
Yeah.
can
I'm
do
sure that's
this.
the last thing you want right before you about to
Yeah,
play,
and I was
man.
so
So
nervous, dude. I was like, dude, like I'm in pain. I'm not gonna be able to do it. I've never played drums before, like at a show. But I don't know what happened, dude. Like once we got on stage, I feel like something took over us.
okay.
you
Wow.
know, like everything was good. I started playing and yeah, it was pretty
That's good, man.
amazing.
That's good.
And
I'm
ever since
glad.
then, I've just been on drums. But like the funny thing is, the show after that, it was our worst show ever.
Really. So
Yeah,
it's like y'all took a dub, y'all took a win, and then next one was like an L.
an
So
L, bro. It
that's
was
crazy.
bad. I think because we got way too
What?
confident.
Oh, okay, yeah. That usually happens. And I know how we were making the comparison of like like being in a band is almost like being in a soccer team
Yeah,
because you
it's
got
a
to
team
put forth
effort.
the effort. You got to practice. You need everybody to be on the same page. And so, like as you were telling me about the band, like it's almost the same as being in a sports team.
Yeah.
Because it's effort. And if you don't put the effort, it's gonna show.
And you're like the team is only as strong as its weakest link.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, man, that's pretty cool, dude. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's been fun because in the bands I've been in the past, I've only played a guitar or bass guitar, and I've always like thought of it in my mind. Like it would be so cool to be a drummer in a band. I
Yeah.
just never did it. It's a lot of effort,
Yeah.
But yeah, the guys gave me a shot and I took it. Ever since then, I've just been playing drums for them.
That's cool, man.
It's pretty fun. Like before I came here, actually, I went to my studio to like jam a
Oh,
little
cool.
bit.
So y'all like have y'all's own studio or
Yeah,
what? Cool.
yeah, over in
Right on,
Jersey
man.
Village.
Oh yeah, that's a ways out from here. That's what, like on the northwest side, I think.
Yeah, it's like the opposite side of the Beltway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
like
figured.
if you look at the map, like my studio is like in the same spot as where you're at, but on the west side.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
symmetrical
Nice.
almost.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So like what? Because I'm like this is a Christian podcast. So like what's your belief? Like, do you believe in God or you like, what's your standpoint on that?
I mean, I believe there's a higher power for sure.
Mhm.
I just like me personally, like I don't like to put a label on it. You know
Okay.
what I mean? Like, okay, like this is called this, um, or like this happened exactly this way because I don't know. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wasn't there. Um, but I feel for sure there's more to everything that we've
Yeah.
like confirmed, as fact.
Yeah.
I just feel like my mind doesn't like fully comprehend what that is or
For
like
sure.
you know what I mean? Because my family grew up Catholic. My mom would take us to church and I did the whole Catholic school thing.
Hmm.
I got my confirmation. I got baptized, as a
Yeah.
baby. I think I did. Yeah, I did my first communion actually. I think I I didn't do my confirmation.
Okay.
I think I
Okay.
had the opportunity to, but I just thought about it and I was like, I don't think I want to do that, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of hurt my mom, you know, because like she was raised, you know,
Yeah.
Catholic
Yeah. And
also.
I went through the same thing. Like I
Yeah.
think they were really pushing for the confirmation so I can have the first communion or whatever. But
Mm.
like I really didn't understand it. You know, like at the time they're just like you got to do this,
Yeah.
and it's like why? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and even with the classes, it's just like the teachers they weren't able to successfully kind of understand what was going on. I'm just like, well, they're telling me I should do this and that I have to do this, but it's just like I'm not really understanding the gist of it. And so like that's where I kind of like, you know, myself, I was just like I don't understand, you know, like it's like.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, it wasn't until years later, and I know I've spoken about this in the past, like I started searching for the truth myself. And it wasn't until then that it's not because I wanted it, but it's because I felt like I was being driven by it. You know, like
Mm.
I'm like I need to find out what the truth is. And so like I've said also in the past, like, you know, I went to like a Mormon's church, I went to the Jehovah's Witnesses, and when I went to like a Christian evangelist church, that's when I was like, dude, like this is like what feels more at home.
Mm.
You know, like in what they're saying, it isn't something outlandish. You know, because like when I went to the, it's not like, you know, I hate speaking bad about any other religion, or you know, because to each their own, right? But like for example, the Mormons were kind of telling me, they're like, yeah, like when you die, you can become your own god, and then you can rule your own planet. And I was like, what? I was just like, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. I'm like, that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense, you know? And so I'm telling you, it wasn't until like I literally went to, it's 2012, dude. And like I said, I was skipping around through like different churches just trying to find the truth. And when I came to this Christian evangelist church in Pasadena, which was literally down the street from my house, that's when I was like, you know, I first experienced the Holy Spirit, dude. And I was like, dude, and it's just like, you know, whenever you had doubts about anything, and it's just like you're finding, you're trying to seek confirmation for something, and then you finally have it. You're like, dude, this is it. And that's exactly how I felt at the time. But I could definitely commiserate with what you're saying, because it's like, you know, like even in history, it's like, you know, the victors or the winners of each war are the ones that get to write history, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like I would understand how, you know, people would question like, well, how do we know this was a facts? You know, like how can we fact check this if, you know, like if history is not even, you know, it's not correct.
It's not
So
like
I could,
two
yeah,
sides, you know.
exactly. And so, you know, that I could understand where you're coming from when it comes to that,
Yeah.
man. But I
So,
can't.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, you go for
I was gonna say how like since I came to I guess conclusion, you know, like I don't want to pick, you know, like one religion or like you know like pick like okay like these are the labels you know I agree with or
it.
whatever
Yeah,
or like the facts, but I feel like my biggest thing is just focus on being a good person, you know,
yeah,
being good to myself, my loved ones, try and get better as a person, you know, try and improve, try and give back to those around me.
yeah,
I feel like that's like the biggest
yeah,
thing, you know what I
man.
mean?
I mean, because like even when I was in high school, man, like I'd say like in middle school, like I experienced a lot of bullying, and
Same.
so like that kind of left me with a bitter taste in my mouth, like going into high school, because it's like, you know, I was the chunky kid and the kid with the big binder and stuff like that. So, you know, like when I went to high school, it's just kind of like I had this like just bad feeling about it. Like I
Mm.
didn't want to go to school,
Yeah, yeah.
and so like that takes a toll on you, because it's like you said, like you want to be a good person, like you want others to reciprocate the kind of, you know, the kind of person you are, and sometimes you don't get that back. And so like that was kind of hard, you know, a hard transition from middle school to high school. But like, you know, like even in high school, like I lost a bunch of weight. Like I started playing soccer, and you know, I guess I was part of that in crowd, even though I never really considered myself part of the in crowd.
Mm.
Um, but like I kind of, you know, I took self responsibility. Like I took it upon myself. Like, hey, you know what? I want to change that about me. Like it's like I don't want to stop being the person that I am,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to make some physical changes to myself. And I did, you know, and I think that was pretty rewarding, because like I got to see the other side of things as well. I'm like, hey, you know, like I'm working for something, and like I'm still being cool with people. Like, cause I would hang out with everybody, dude. It's like I guess people would have considered me more of a prep or whatever, but like I got to talk to basically everybody. Like I talked to the rockers, the skaters, like even the cholos, like the tango blasting dudes and stuff like that. Like I was pretty cool with everybody.
Okay.
But it's just like everything, dude. Like, you could be a nice person to somebody and people are still gonna hate on you somehow, some way.
You can't like
Yeah,
win everyone's hearts. You know what I mean?
exactly. And so I think you're definitely on the right track, man. Like, and it's like you want to put that out there, you know, and just hope that you get that back, right? Even though, and even if you don't, man, you just continue being that who you are,
Yeah,
and
man.
yeah, man.
But I feel that when you're saying how like whenever you're going through like bullying and stuff, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get into the mindset of like be nice to those around you. Cause I feel like even like after high school, there's still some of that
Yeah,
like in politics. Like I feel like politics are kind of geared towards fear sometimes, and like they get people riled up,
yeah,
with anger and stuff like that. A lot of negative energy.
hmm,
And I was feeling that for a while, because my family were immigrants, and
yeah,
like I feel like we're being attacked, by the government, and like they're trying to kick us out, and like I found myself feeling a lot of like hate for
yeah,
a while, and then like I kind of realized what's going on. I'm like, dude, like what's going on
yeah,
to me, like why am I being so hateful? I don't like this,
yeah,
it's like poison, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like I'm not sure if you heard that saying where like whenever you hate someone, it's like having poison. No, like drinking poison and then expecting them to die
yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, yeah,
That's what it feels like, So I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna come up with a conclusion. You know, I feel like with everyone around you, even your own family and your friends, there's always gonna be a disagreement.
yeah,
You know
for
what I
sure,
mean?
man,
Like no one is ever gonna agree with like everything you think
for
you
sure.
agree with. So I feel like I have to make peace with that.
Yeah,
It's like agree to disagree. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, and dude, even that nowadays is it's hard to accomplish because we're looking at the current situation of what we're going through right now as a whole, as humanity. And I think we're living in a society here in the United States where it's like if you disagree with me, guess what? I'm not just like you said. You would hope that we could just agree to disagree, but now we're getting to a point where it's like, okay, if you disagree with me, I might hurt you, and it's just like, dude, why? You know
It's
what I
like you
mean?
have to
Like,
choose a
yeah,
side.
and get exactly. And I think these things are all agenda driven, and I think it's the oldest book and it's the oldest trick in the book. It's called divide and conquer.
Mm-hmm.
And so when mass media puts out a certain agenda, they want people to feed into it. So obviously, if you're constantly getting all your information on and everything from big media, then that's exactly what you're gonna go out
Yeah.
and portray. And so, like you said, it's almost like they corner you into a place where you have to pick a side, where it's like I'm either left or I'm right, and it's like why can't I just be in the middle? It's like why can't I, like, for example, me, like I have conservative thoughts, but I wouldn't consider myself like a far right activist or any of that, like
Yeah.
or a far right supporter, because I respect everybody. Like even like when I sat with it's Fine and Dandy podcast. Like I wasn't there like, oh yeah, you're wrong and I'm right. Like no, like I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna be respectful and I'm gonna hear you out. And there was some things that I did disagree with them, but I'm not gonna shun you. Like I'm not gonna shut you down. Like because I think it's very ignorant for people to do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I just like why are you getting so roused from somebody that has a different opinion than you? Like that's wrong on all scales. So I think that's where we're at right now,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
sucks because it's like if we implemented a different kind of thought process, we'd be in a different situation than we are now. But I do think that these things are ultimately controlled by some higher up entity.
Dude, no, 100%. Because they make money off it.
Yeah,
Like the media and politics. Politicians, they need support.
yeah.
They need attention towards them. The media, they make money. It's a whole network.
Yeah,
Like
there's a guy that I follow on Instagram. I forgot his name, but he starts to analyze each and every single, whether it's an artist, whether it's a politician, whether it's a technocrat, and then he starts making like the ties to the big corporations and companies that support him. And there's a common thread which I don't want to mention here because I don't want to get canceled just yet. But there's a common thread that lies in all those connections that leads back to to one source, man. And if you look at it, it's kind of scary, dude. It's kind of scary how that works, man. Because it starts to paint a bigger picture of what's actually going on and
Yeah.
who's actually putting forth these ideologies and these things that they want plastered on social media or on media itself. So it's a it's a frightening thing once you start making the connections, dude. And you're just like, there's something far deeper and far more conspicuous going on here. So yeah,
It's
man.
crazy, man. People in power, like the stuff they can do,
Yeah,
you know.
and it's like I was talking with Ulises on the podcast with him. I'm like, dude, like the Ten Commandments are like, I would say it's like the baseline of, even if you're not a believer, I think you could agree
Mm.
with, like, hey, you know what, that is correct. Like, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not covet your neighbor's wife. And so, like, I think most of us could agree with that. And it's like, I think if we were all to go back to just the drawing board and be like, hey, we all agree on this, let's not do this.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the world would be a better place. But I think now it's like they push this whole agenda of, hey, be who you are, be who you want to be, and to where it's like now we have like a whole plethora of different people, that consider themselves not even people anymore. You can consider yourself a tree, or you can consider yourself a cat, or whatever. And so that's where all the problems start to happen, man. Because it's like now you have, instead of again unifying people as a whole, based off of, like, again, like let's just suppose the Ten Commandments. Now you have like, no, well, I don't agree with that because I don't feel like it, and it's just like, damn, dude, like, and I think that therein lies the problem, man. Where it's like we just have so much information out there, dude, and so much just be who you are. I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I think that's where we're at now, and that's where the problem lies, dude.
I feel like it's just like a human thing, like humans are never gonna be like a perfect society.
Yeah,
Like even if one day, like magically, like all of humanity becomes like a utopia. I
yeah,
feel like say that happens, someone's gonna like disagree with something, and then
yeah.
it's gonna start all over again. You
Yeah, I
know what I
mean,
mean?
if you looked at the history, for example, like with Islam, and for example, the Jews, like they've been at war for the last, what, 2,000 years,
Yeah.
or if not longer. And it's just like, dude, you know what I mean? And in all war is based on, it happens due to something, whether it's resources, whether it's religion, whether it's just power. It all comes from something. It stems
Mm-hmm.
from something, man. And it's just like, there's always going to be conflict, because there's always been conflict, whether it's them, like, for example, I think it was Cambodia and Thailand that they were about to go to war not too long ago. And apparently Trump went over there and advocated for peace, whatever. So you know people are always going to disagree, and like you said, people have different walks of life. um and in my life, like, what my the Christian belief and the Christian values is what's worked for me, and I can just do my part. For example, like, I'm trying my best to propel myself towards what I believe is true, which again is the Gospels. The account of Jesus Christ and his life and what he did on earth. And it's like I've said in the past, like, I will die with this belief, man, because it's like when you believe something wholehearted or wholeheartedly, it's like you're having to be willing to die for it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, like, I don't know how that would come about, if that ever comes about. I rebuke that, but it's just like I'd be willing, because no one or nothing can convince me otherwise. Like, it's just that's what I'm set on, and that's what I came here to do. This is my purpose, and I have an obligation, to try to put this message out so that I can extend the same grace that was extended to me.
Yeah.
Because I was, dude, like like I've said in the past as well, like, I was not a good person back then. I was someone that was just, a party goer. Like, I'd drink, I'd go out, women, etc., etc. And it's just like it left me at a place where I was just empty, bro. Like, that's the best way I could describe
No,
it,
that makes
man.
sense, man.
And so, like, when I remember that point of time, and I fast forward to how my life is now, dude, like, it's just, I see a huge difference, man. And I atone that, like, I give all the credit to like this Christian walk, man. Had it not been for me finding Christ and finally, setting myself in that, like I think I'd be in a different. I don't know, man. I'd probably be dead right now, to be
Yeah,
honest. Like, so I just try my best to stay in line with that. And so
that's good, man.
yeah. But have you ever had any like weird encounters? Like, have you ever like, for example, experienced like sleep paralysis or anything like that?
Yeah, dude. Like I'm getting children out thinking about it. It was weird. Like I'm not sure if it was sleep paralysis or a dream. I'm not sure. Because memory is a tricky thing.
Yeah.
But I think this one night, it was like I want to say like 8 years ago, 7 years ago. I have a memory of me being in bed and looking up, and I saw like a dark figure above me. And I just froze. You know how whenever you get like so frozen with fear,
Hmm.
I had that. I just like kind of like froze, and I was trying to like yell or say
You
something,
couldn't,
and
right?
help. And I was like just
Yeah.
frozen. So I'm not sure if I was frozen because of the fear or if it was because it was like sleep paralysis.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
it's crazy that you say that. And there's a reason why I said that, dude. Like I know it's gonna sound like I'm not trying to sound like, oh, but that's what I received, like sleep paralysis, man. Like I sometimes get words of knowledge, and that's why I ask you, because I've also experienced that as well, man. Like back when I was like, I don't know, I had to be like 10, 15 years ago, and so the same thing you just explained, dude, is the same thing I would experience when I was living at my mom's house.
Hmm.
And so same thing. It was like a black figure, dude. You couldn't move, you couldn't do anything, and so it's frightening. It was chilling, because I'm like, what do I do? I'm over here trying to like rezar, and stuff like that. So it was crazy, man. So like I that's real, man. And I think a lot of people like even people that might not believe, like they might not understand, but it's uh, once you've underwent that, like there's no denying. And
Yeah.
especially when it's like, for example, you're telling me you went through it, I went through it, and I've met a lot of people that have also went through it, man. And these are spiritual doors that sometimes we even not even knowing we open. And so like the more I've gotten into this Christian walk, the more I start to kind of identify the different doors and windows that we knowingly are all or unknowingly open, dude. And so it's like, man, dude, like thank God I haven't experienced that anymore, man. But like you said, in the moment, you just feel like, dude, what the heck's going on, you know?
Like there's something else that happened that I can't really explain. It was when I got my first apartment with my girlfriend at the time. We were watching TV one time. She's like sitting on the couch like this. There was like a little wall next to us like that. And yeah, we're just watching TV, and then out of nowhere we hear a sound, like something moving, and we both turned at the same time. We looked to our left, and we had like the key holder, like the
Oh
llavero.
yeah.
Yeah, we had
Hmm.
like the dog leash on there, like yeah, and then out of nowhere the leash started moving by itself. It was like swinging
Wow.
back and forth, and we just looked at each other. We're like, what the hell? Like you're seeing this, right? And then like yeah, for a good like 10, 15 seconds, it's just swinging, and then it stops. We're like, how did that happen? And
Yeah.
then like I got up to try and replicate it. I like kind of like lifted it like this and let it go. It swung like one or two times and then it stopped.
Wow.
And I was like, so for it to be moving like that, something had to be pushing it like repeatedly,
Yeah, for sure.
or like touching it or holding on to it. And I was trying to find different ways to like replicate what just happened. I was like blowing on it. I was like trying to
Yeah.
like move the wall or something. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, like there's nothing that could have made it move like that. Like I can't
Exactly.
explain it. It was just weird.
Yeah, no, I mean that was like for example, that could have been a spiritual encounter, like a demonic encounter, dude. And the thing is, like sometimes it's not even, for example, you said it was an apartment, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it might even not even been like y'all, like
The person who
whoever
was there
could have, yeah,
before.
could have done something, and so you leave a door open to that area, to that zone, and so there's a stronghold. It's called a stronghold over that area,
Yeah.
and so like the things remain there. And so again, you go into apartment not knowing, like, hey, so it could have been that essentially.
100% for sure, dude. Because it was
So
like not a good area. It was a
so
bad area.
because like when like let's say if you have one pair of eyes, like you see it, all right, cool, maybe somebody might not believe it, but you're telling me, dude, there was two, it was you and
Yeah.
your girlfriend, so it's
Yeah.
just like that's kind of scary, dude.
And we talked about it. We're like, so like to make sure we didn't imagine it. We're like, so you saw
Yeah,
it, right?
yeah,
And she's like, yeah, like, you saw it too, right? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay, yeah.
yeah.
So we both saw it
Just
then.
confirmation, yeah, nah,
Yeah.
dude, that's definitely,
That
yeah,
like that's why I told you like I believe there's something, a
yeah,
higher power. I just don't know what the label is. I'd rather not choose like like a label, but
Yeah.
there's something, dude. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
for
deny
sure.
that. I'm not like an
For sure.
atheist, saying like no, there's nothing, just
Yeah,
science.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
nah, bro.
No.
Like there's something.
So would you say you're more of a like agnostic?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say
Yeah.
like agnostic is the closest thing. Like even knit, like I I I I don't like that label either,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I guess
yeah,
it's the closest thing.
yeah. It's like you said, like, and nowadays it's like you have to be labeled something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But for some people, I do understand why, because some people, like, even if you try to explain it to them, they're like, "What? Like, I don't know." So what are you a part of? You know? But I
yeah,
mean, like, I could understand.
yeah, yeah,
But then, like, to the next person, they might be like, "So
yeah,
are
yeah,
you
yeah.
like,
So you're
what are
atheist
you?" Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I understand why there's labels, but it's just like, if you're, you don't even have to be intelligent, but like if you're comprehensive, like you could be like, okay, I get it,
it's kind of easier to make the connection in your
Yeah.
own mind. You're like,
But
okay,
it's like, again, people's brains are so wired on one thing that they're like, that's not making sense to me, make it make sense to me.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like, as soon as you say like a term, you're like, okay, now I can identify you as that. But it's just like, why? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, why do I have to be labeled with something?
Or like
I
why
don't,
have to be in this box now?
exactly. So it's just like, I think it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous where we're at right now as far as that. But I could definitely agree with you on that, man. I know you said like your parents, they're Catholic. Like, have they, like, are they still practicing the faith or?
Probably not as much as they used to, because I feel like the older they got, because right now they're like in their 50s, and I feel like the older they got, especially my dad. I feel like my dad and I we think a lot, like we think the same a lot, because what he's been saying for like years is that like
Okay.
he didn't like the whole like how like religion, like our religion had to answer to like the Vatican, like whatever the Pope
Yeah.
says is
Yeah.
law,
Yeah.
we all have to like agree and listen to that. He didn't really like that because he's like a big history person also. Him and I,
Okay.
we're really into history.
That's good.
He's like he like dives deep. Like right now he's like really into like the Vikings and stuff.
Okay. Right on.
And like I'm not sure if you know what happened with the Vikings, but it was like a big like
Briefly,
it was
actually.
like a big holy war going on in Europe at the time. There was like the Norse mythology, and then there was like
Mm.
Christianity,
Yeah, they were clashing.
and
I
there was like a
understand
bunch
that.
of other stuff, but it was mostly those two. And then like they were being used for control.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
dad, like he saw that, he's like, yeah, I think religion is like,
And I've heard this term before. It's just like, if even if you don't like history, if you ignore history, it's bound to happen again.
yeah, dude.
So it's like, if we don't learn from our predecessors and for the events that happened in the past, and it just becomes, watered down or people disregard it, guess what? It's gonna happen again.
Yeah, dude.
And it's just been the same thing. For example, in the Bible, like I tell this to my friends all the time. I'm like, God spoke to Israel at the time many times. He's like, don't do this, do that. And people were bent on rebellion. They're like, nah, we want to do what we want to do. And again, like, I mean, I'll be the first to raise my hand. Like, I've always been like that for the most part, And it's like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think I'm gonna test the waters. And
Yeah,
you test
yeah.
the waters, and you're like, oh shoot, dude. Like, I'm just like, all right, all right, all right. I'm sorry, God.
Like I
You
should
know
have
what I mean? Like,
listened.
and so it's like that. If you read the Bible, like, it's a recounting of all the times that God's people disobeyed, and then they were in a very bad situation, and then they came back to God. And so, like, almost every generation is like, they kept messing up, they kept messing up. And so, like I said, I understand, man. Like, I'll be the first one to say, like, hey, man, like, I'm a sinner. Like, I mess up every day. Like, but now it's like, I try my best. I
Yeah.
try my best to stay in bound as far as that, man, because it's like, because I know better, and when you know better, you do better. And so it's like, for me, that's what's been like, I think what was the most frightening verse in the Bible, where it says, like, to you who have known, um, the way of righteousness, you will be judged on a different scale. And so I've found out, like, when I was first, getting into the faith, like 2012, I was like, well, maybe I can go back to my old life and I'll be fine. And I did for a long time. I did, because I was just being lukewarmish. And I was like, well, I like this life, but this is cool too. Like, but I
Hmm.
was like, let me go ahead and go back. And so I'd go back, and I'll always end up in a worse situation, dude. And I'm like, man, dude. And it wasn't like, I mean, I've told you in the past, it wasn't until I finally got sick, like physically sick.
Yeah.
And dude, like, I'm still sometimes going through the after symptoms, man. Like, I think it was like 3 weeks ago where I was going through some stuff again, dude. And that was kind of scary, man, because it's like it happens out of nowhere. Like you
Yeah.
could be good for a whole week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month, and then out of nowhere, dude, it just like you start having all these weird symptoms going on. And so like I've instead of complaining about it, which again it's not easy to go through, but and now I kind of understand that the term rejoice in the sufferings of Christ, because if Christ went through all these horrible things, man, like that, because the Romans were known for torture, dude.
Yeah.
And so basically, like, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Passion of
Yeah. I
Christ.
see
Like
that.
that is only like a fraction of what Jesus had to go through. And so if he went through all that, I'm like I can go through this. Like I'll be fine. And even if I'm not the day after tomorrow, guess what? Like I'm pretty solid in my belief, and I know that there's gonna be something else after this. And so like that's what kind of keeps me, in the faith as far as that. Like I know that, hey, you know what? If the day after tomorrow I'm not here no more because of that, like I've enjoyed my life. I've tried to spread the gospel. I've done everything that I can, and I'm good with that. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And like I know that I'm gonna go somewhere else after this. Like I'm gonna go to heaven. And so yeah, man, it's been difficult, but I can understand the whole rejoicing, like because when we pursue happiness, like it's fleeting, dude. Any situation that I've ever been in where like I bought something, or when I bought the house, like it's all temporary, man. Like
Yeah.
it's like what do they call those? Like just momentary joys, but it's like you said, not an epiphany. It's like a shot of dopamine,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like it's just momentary, dude. Everything is real momentary, but it's not until you kind of link to God, link to the source, that you're just like, okay, now I feel more complete. Like I feel like there's something far deeper and more meaningful to what I'm doing here, instead of just looking out for I. And I think that was because, dude, I used to be really, man, self-centered, all about me, me, me. And it's just like I was bitter, man. Like I was just like, man, like I've pushed away everybody that I love. I've always just looked out for myself. And it wasn't until, again, I know I've said this in the past, one of my buddy Ivan, which used to be my neighbor down here, he passed away. I was like, damn, dude, like I lost a good friend,
Yeah.
because it's like my parents would tell me all the time, like ese Ivan is buen amigo. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, he's a pretty good friend. And it's like but it wasn't until he was gone, dude, when I was like, dude, like I can feel the absence now.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and the crazy part is that Sunday before or the Wednesday before you passed, like he came over here, and he came to donate to my son's donation, because they were like a fundraiser
Mm-hmm.
for like his school, whatever. Like they were selling like dollar lollipops or whatever.
Okay.
And he came over. He was always a good friend, man. And he donated like $25, dude, for like 25. He didn't want the lollipop, but he was just being a good friend, as he always was. And so I started talking to him about, like, about me taking Anthony to go get consecrated in the eyes of the Lord. And it's like, that's almost like a ceremonial thing. It's like
Mm-hmm.
saying, God, like, I present my son to you. Like, it's not like a baptism or anything, but and I told him, I had gotten sick, and that, we were catching up because we hadn't caught up in a long time. And he was really smart, but like, so he liked to think, I could just tell, like, he was just thinking about the whole thing, thinking about the whole thing. And then I'm telling you, like, Saturday night, there was something, man, something told me, like, hit him up, like, hang out with him. And I'm like, hey, bro, like, what are you doing today? He's like, oh, like, I went out last night, and I'm like, I'm a little hungover. I'm like, okay, cool, cool. So I'm like, how was it last night? He never texted back after that. And then something that night was like, I texted him again, like, hey, what are you doing? And he never texted back after that. And then like that morning, like I got a call from his brother-in-law, his name's Ivan as well. He's like, hey, dude. I'm like, what's up, man? And he's like, Ivan passed away this morning. I was like, dude, I was just like, what, bro? Like I couldn't. I was just trying to assimilate everything, dude. And I
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, bro, what are you talking about? Like I was just talking to him yesterday, And he's like, he was in a car accident and he passed away. I'm like, so he's gone. He's like, yeah, he's gone. And I was just like, damn, dude. Like, I was like, I had just talked to him, and that feeling of like, hey, reach out. That was God, dude. You know. And I'm thankful for that Wednesday that we got to talk, man, because we hadn't talked in months, bro. So it's just like, And I started putting all these pieces together, and it's like I was telling this on, I can't remember what podcast, like interview that I had, but when you start to share your testimonies, everything might seem like something sporadic, something random. But when you start seeing like a trend of these things happening, bro, you're like, nah, this is something else, bro. Because even one of the plumbers that I used to work with, good guy, Brad, his name was Brandon Oviedo. He passed away back in April. And so with him and with Tan Tran, that's 7 people that I got to see in the last year and a half that had reached out to me, that I was cool with, close with, that ended up passing away, dude, out of nowhere. So Brandon was 25, dude. And I still remember back around this time last year, so like November, December of last year, dude. Like we got to talking just random. I saw him out on the field in one of the communities. He was doing a job, and we got to talking about God. And I don't know why I was so just like real persistent with him, bro. I was like, but I don't even know why I was saying this, but I told him, I'm like you have to like this is important, bro. I told him this is really important. Like and like I don't know why I'm saying this, but like this is real important. Like I hope you really you take this to heart. And and I'm just telling him basically what I'm telling you right now, like these experiences and everything that I've been going through. And he was also stuck in thought, I could tell. And he's like, well, man, like I've never had a conversation like this with anybody. And then so fast forward from November, December to April, dude. And then I got a phone call from his cousin saying like, hey, did you hear that Brandon passed away? I was like, bro. I was like, at that point, I was like, what is going on, dude? You know what I mean? But I'm thankful. I'm thankful that I got to share that testimony
Yeah.
with them, because it's like, hey, you know what? That might have been it for them to come to believe, And I don't know. Like I can't guarantee, I can't certify, but I'd like to hope that that's what did it for them. Like, hey, you know what? Maybe there is a God, or maybe God is out there. And so, man, dude, like, and that was just 2, but think about 7, dude, 7 people. And I was just like, man, bro, like this is stuff real, man. Like as much as, like I said, I used to kind of try to deny it, like, oh nah, I'm gonna live to be old just like my parents. Like my dad just turned 67, 67. No, I'm sorry, 76 last month. And so like I'm just like, I always thought like, well, I'm gonna get to be old too, like just judging it off of age, man.
Yeah.
But
No, you don't know that.
you don't know that, dude. You don't know. Like Brandon was 25, Ivan was 32, my buddy Jeremy was 27, I think, or 30. So I just don't know, man. And it's best. Like even look, for example, even if you're agnostic, man. Like, and I've heard this saying before. Like it's better to be in than out. So even if you don't believe, like it's still, it's recommended to believe. Like because like let's suppose, for example, like a lot of atheists that don't believe in God. Let's say at the end of the time, at the end of your time, guess what? Yeah, there's nothing. Then you lose nothing. You lose absolutely nothing. But let's suppose there is a hell, there is a heaven,
Yeah.
and then at the end of your time, you come, and guess what? You know, you're facing God, and there is judgment. But because you believed, if you did believe, guess what? You just got saved instead of going to hell or whatever, man. So even by logic, by pure logic, like you should want to
Yeah.
believe, man.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try to encourage people to believe. Is even if you don't, man, like just try. Just try to engage in it. Because I can fully testify, and I'm a living testimony that he does exist, and that there is something far deeper than we can actually perceive with our own eyes. So.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, man. I know we're kind of coming up on. I think it's probably like an hour now, but
Yeah, man.
but yeah, bro. I mean, um, yeah, this stuff's it's real, man. Like I definitely encourage you, and if you'll allow me to pray for you, bro, like I can if you want me to.
Yeah, for sure, man.
All right. So, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time, Lord. We thank you for all that you've done. Thank you for this meeting, Father God. We know that this was a divine appointment. We know that our lives are not just mere coincidence, Father God. And Father, I pray for Danny. I pray for his walk, his purpose. May you reveal yourself to him in dreams and visions. Father God. May you bring him to belief. May he experience you tangibly, Father God. And may he be a beacon of hope for others. And just bless his life, bless his family, Father God. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Alrighty, man.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. And thanks for coming on the podcast, bro.
Yeah,
Like I
for
said,
sure.
It was great, dude.
Anytime, man. Also, like anytime you want to come into my podcast again.
Yeah, for sure, dude. And please tell, like, if the people hadn't known, like, where can the people find you on?
StreetCouchEntertainment.com. I'm trying to push your website a little bit more. I have every single podcast I've ever done on there. Links, you can download everything for free, audio and video. There's YouTube links on there as well. On Instagram, StreetCouch Entertainment, all one word. YouTube, StreetCouch Entertainment. Same with TikTok. My personal page on Instagram is Danny Tabs 59. If you want to follow the Instagram for my band Centillion, it's Centillion SENTILION _music. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, that was another episode of the Anointed Mess podcast. Thanks for coming again, Danny. And
Sure, man.
we'll see you on the next one, guys. Thank y'all.
All right, peace.
All right, bro. That was good, man.
Oh, yeah, man. Damn, time flew, bro.
Yeah, it does.